Hi everyone, we are Brandon and Kristine, and this is our tiny van Fern.
Alright guys, well welcome to our van. So this over here is our kitchen space. We have a 2-burner propane cooktop, and then we also have a pretty deep sink over here. We have 40 gallons of fresh water, and then the sink feeds into 2 7-gallon jerry cans for our gray water, and that's on a 2-way connection, so you can switch it when one gets full. And then we also have this portion here that lifts up, and this is our extra countertop. So we use this every single day. We absolutely love this portion of our kitchen. So with the sink here and the stove, it's really nice to just, I mean, when we make our coffee, just fill up the water, put it right on. And then this also acts as a nice bit of countertop here as well. And then we also have this whole side, which we use for like chopping and that sort of thing, prepping any of our meals as well. So kind of works together that way. So, and then we also have our Berkey. So this filters all of our drinking water. And we really like it, and it's also on this buckle here, so we can push it up against the wall and it doesn't move around or anything like that while we're driving. And then just below our sink and our cooktop is our fridge. So it pulls out on some drawer sides, and then oops, kind of squeaky and then opens up just like this. So it's just a fridge, no freezer, but it's really large and it holds about a week's worth of food, so we really like it. And then moving on to this side of the kitchen, we actually decided to go with this countertop because we wanted something with a little bit more character in the van than Butcher Block, and also it was much cheaper because we got all of the pallets for free just off Facebook Marketplace, and then we just epoxied the top, and we really like the look of it. So in this top drawer, we store all of our like cooking utensils, our silverware, our plates and bowls. And then in the second drawer, this is kind of all of our toiletries and kind of our medicine cabinet as well. And then this section here is like a pantry. So we have some spices on the top, all of like our sauces and ingredients and that sort of thing on the bottom. And then in this cabinet here is actually our toilet. So we have a Nature's Head composting toilet, and it works really well. There's no smells or anything like that. And then up here is actually the toilet switch to have the fan on to blow the air outside and kind of dry out the compost. I think that the composting toilet was worth all the money because we use it all the time. A lot of the time we've been in cities quite a bit on the road so far, so going outside hasn't been as easily accessible for us, and sometimes when you're parked in certain areas you can't always rely on public restrooms. So we absolutely love it, and we think it's worth the money for us. And then above this kitchen area we actually have these 2 baskets. We use these every single day. Up here we normally keep just like fruit and produce and that sort of thing. This one's kind of a catch-all, so a lot of the times we keep like our chargers and stuff in here. It gets kind of messy, but it's really nice to just be able to plug something in here and just put our phone there while we're driving or something like that and let things charge. And then this is our only 120 plug right here. So this plugs directly into our Goal Zero Yeti, which is our power system. And then all of the other items are 12 volts. And then up here we just have this little mirror. We hang our keys here, and this is the only mirror we have in our van. And then down here we actually have our Chinese diesel heater. So this was a cheaper option compared to like the S-Bar and Webasto. So it runs off of diesel, but our vehicle is actually a gas vehicle. So we do have a small diesel tank in this bench seat here that we fill up, and it works really well. We're from Wisconsin, so when we were driving south, we faced a lot of cold weather, and we actually had it on the lowest setting, and we were still sweating. So we definitely would recommend that. So right when you walk in the sliding door of the van, you're going to see this big L-shaped bench. It's super comfortable. There's enough space for both Brandon and I to sit and relax. And this area also turns into our dining area. This is where we work, and this actually also turns into a spare bed as well. It's been a little bit cramped in here when both of us are working, and I think that's mostly because of the size of our table. So we made a pretty large table in here, and I think that's one thing that we would change is we would cut down the table to make it a little bit smaller just so we can get around each other while we're trying to work. But it is fairly comfortable other than that. And then with this L-shaped design, we are blocking off the front just a little bit, but we are able to actually kind of climb up on top and go through the middle section in between our seats. So we don't find the need to actually walk outside and go in through the front. We're totally comfortable just stepping over this to get to the front. Above this bench seating, we actually have our upper cabinets. So in this one, we have some of our pantry items, and then we also have some toiletries. And then moving on to this one, we have more of our work. We have some work stuff in here, some camera equipment, that sort of thing. And then above our cab, we have, this is quite a bit of clothes storage. So we have these 3 bins, which kind of hold our underwear, socks, and all that sort of thing. And then behind that is actually just more storage for coats and bulkier items. And then to block a lot of the sunlight, we have this blackout curtain. It works really, really well to keep the sun and the heat from out of the front part of the cab from entering into the back part. We also have these window covers up here that are made of Reflectix that we always put up when it's sunny or when it's cold, and it really helps with temperature control. And to go along with that, we also have a max air fan right here, and we have a window on the side of our van. So that opens up and it creates kind of a wind tunnel through here. And we also have a bunk window in the back. So it creates a pretty big wind tunnel when it's warm outside to keep us cool in the bed, as well as keep this front area cool as well. So I guess the first time that I had seen van life, I was actually looking up some videos about things to do in Peru because we were supposed to be going there in May of 2020, but I mean, we all know how that turned out. So we were just looking up nice things to do, and I stumbled across a YouTube video of somebody that lived in a van and had driven all the way from the United States down to Peru, and it just kind of sparked everything from there. Just the thought of living in a vehicle and actually being able to travel, because travel is something that we've always wanted to do, and we have a dog, so it makes it just a little bit more difficult. So finding a way to actually do that while having a dog with us is kind of just jump-started everything from there. So then we kind of fell in this rabbit hole of looking everything up, and we decided it was the best time in our lives to do it. So that's kind of how we ended up here, and we built out the van, and we're loving it.
Yep. It definitely took me a little longer to get on board. I think Kristine was kind of all in from the start once we kind of decided it's something we could do before we pulled the trigger. Kristine was definitely more into it at first. It took me a little longer to turn the page. But then I think, you know, we took a road trip out west through the Dakotas, out to Yellowstone, and we got to kind of experience that camping, living in your car situation, and I really liked it. I was like, okay, I could see this as a realistic possibility. You know, and then we went on another vacation, and we were out of PTO then. So pretty quickly, we couldn't go on another vacation for, you know, another 6 months. So kind of started to click as like, I want this to be my life. Like, I want to be on the road. I want to experience things while working. Like, why can't I work and travel? So we kind of sat down, came up with a budget. Kristine was smiling ear to ear because I was finally on board, and started looking at purchasing a van. All right, so moving further back in the van, we are back to our sleeping area. Down underneath our bed right here, though, is Hops' crate. Sometimes she sleeps in there, sometimes she sleeps up on the couch, but we wanted her to have her own area, just in case she ever wanted to kind of get away from everything. And then we do actually have a pull-out gate in case we need to put her in there for safety. That kind of tucks in behind here, and then it locks on the other side over there. And then me getting into the bed is fairly easy. I just kind of hop up in, or most of the time I just use the step stool. We do have a full-size queen bed, so it is the full width of a queen bed, but we did have to cut it down about 6 inches just so it could fit in the Promaster. Can fit about a 6 foot, 6'1" person, and I am just under 6 feet, so I just barely fit in it, but it is really comfortable. We do have these little bump outs here on both sides just to give us an extra inch or two. Pretty much all we had to do was put a piece of wood that goes on the side into the metal part of the framing. And then the wall you just kind of built around it with this little frame here. So it wasn't too challenging to get the bump outs in. It was definitely worth it. We would definitely do it again. Haven't had any issues with it. And then this bunk window on this side, we did actually put in ourselves. It's just a sliding window that kind of opens side to side. We wanted the bunk window up here because we knew Hops was going to lay in the bed all the time. She actually kind of just lays right across this blanket right here, and then she just kind of looks out and sniffs the air. This is her spot right here. And then in the summer when it gets warm, or just when we're in warm areas, we wanted to create that cross draft between this window, our sliding door window, and then our max air fan. So with the max air fan, we kind of debated going back and forth between having one or two. We ended up just going with the one, and we put it up in the living area. Sometimes, and it hasn't happened yet because we haven't been in too warm of areas yet, wanted to maybe put one back here as well, just to have one over the bed. And I'm a hot sleeper. I like to have that airflow. So we were thinking, we left it empty up above us, so there's nothing above us here in case we ever do want to add another max air fan. But yeah, we thought about putting one up here as well. So the other thing I did want to mention about the bed is it ended up working out. It sits on the horizontal framing of the Promaster, and it's just, long 2x4s that go across. And I'm able to pretty much sit in here comfortably, little slouch, but for the most part, I'm able to just kind of sit up, so I don't ever have to worry about hitting my head or anything. So the height of it ended up working out perfectly for us. And then up here in our upper cabinets are all of our clothes. So on this one is for Kristine. She keeps pretty much everything up here minus her extra stuff that she gets in the corner. Of course, she gets more space than I do, but it is what it is. And then this one is for me. Pretty much keeps all of my clothes. I don't have any other hidden clothes throughout the van. Everything fits in this little upper cabinet up here.
I'm a CPA, certified professional accountant. So once COVID hit, my job actually went part-time remote. So I was part-time in the office and part-time working remotely. But my company actually went back full-time in person. So when we were transitioning to this lifestyle, we were building out our rig and everything like that. And I knew I needed to find a new job because my old job wasn't able to be a full-time remote position. So I looked online and I found a really great opportunity for me, part-time remote work, completely remote company. And when I was looking, I found that there was a lot of remote jobs, especially after the whole COVID-19 crisis, just because people found that they were capable of working remotely and everything getting done.
I was a recruiter for our staffing service. The challenge with that position, going fully remote, is we're in a city, people come to us, we're a walk-in hospitality type business. So we have to, be in an actual office so people can come to us looking for jobs. So I talked to them about switching to something fully remote. Unfortunately, it just wasn't doable. So I started looking on Indeed for more remote type positions. I wanted to do more than just like data entry or just entering books and just kind of just mind-numbing work. So I started looking for recruiting or talent acquisition coordinator type positions where I could be part of something bigger. And I ended up finding a job that is fully remote as well. So I can kind of pick and choose my hours. And I work for a company that's in the healthcare field. So I'm able to just kind of call people who apply to our jobs, get them set up, and then potentially offer them a job. And I can do it from anywhere. We typically will work between the van. I like to work in the van just because I am a recruiter. I'm on the phone a lot. And yeah, just because I am a recruiter, I'm on the phone a lot, doing phone screens, Zoom interviews, things like that. And Kristine likes to work in like a library. That way she can use the library's Wi-Fi to save on our data. And then she's mostly just doing, you know, bookkeeping and stuff like that. When she does have a meeting, sometimes she comes out to the van, sometimes she stays in the library. But I like to please everyone and not talk too loud in a library, so I work from the van. So we have reached the back of the van, as we call it the garage, like most people. Pretty much houses all of our stuff that we don't use on a daily basis, and things that you would find in anyone's garage. So on this side, way in the back over there, we have all of my tools. We've already learned you can never have too many tools in a van. With everything breaking, just always need more tools. So I have my tool set kind of way in the back there. On top, that little gray bag is our inflatable kayak, just for when we get somewhere warm, kind of go out on the rivers, lakes. And then we have our telescoping ladder. It is a 12-foot telescoping ladder, just in case we ever have to get to the top of the van, check on our solar, our fan, whatever. We do have a moonshade, which is a magnetic awning that goes on the side. So we keep that back here just for storage. More tools. And then this right here is our outdoor shower that Kristine mentioned earlier. So we haven't had to use it yet, so we just kind of keep it barricaded in this little area right here, just so it doesn't bounce around. For our shower, just for privacy, we don't have like a curtain or anything that goes across the back doors. What we did is we bought one of those big kind of pop-up tents that we can kind of just put in here, and then we can feed the hose and the shower head through a little hole in the pop-up tent, so we can shower with privacy. This box just kind of keeps all of our camping type stuff. It has, you know, lanterns, flashlights, just stuff you need at night when you're kind of out in the BLM land. And then over on this end over here is kind of all of our systems. So this box right here is our propane system. We basically we have a 10-gallon propane, so something you find in like a grill or something like that. And then we have it fed through the bottom just for it to escape in case there's ever a leak or anything. And then it hooks up and it goes straight to the back right up to our cooktop. Behind our propane is our 40-gallon water tank. We fill it through this little tube right here, just goes right into it. We fill it up pretty much right till there, right until it hits this tube. We put the tube higher up just in case we're ever parked downhill or just from water sloshing. You want to make sure the water has to go up so it doesn't spray out, just to avoid any leaks. And then the camping shower hooks up into this water supply right there. The water just goes through, comes back around, and then we hook it up to one of our hoses in the back there. So we decided to go with the Goal Zero Yeti 3000X. We found a good deal on it, so we felt like it was too good of a deal to pass up on. And two, we found ourselves a little confused with setting up the electrical system. The Goal Zero is kind of an all-in-one. You just plug everything into it, solar included, and it just kind of works seamlessly. But our Goal Zero is charged and powered by our solar panels up top. On the top of the van, we have 300-watt solar panels, so we can pull in approximately 300 watts, just depending on where we're at. And then we do also have the Yeti Link that connects to our alternator, so it's like a DC to DC charger. So when we're driving anywhere, it charges off of that and then through the solar.
I think the build process really tested us as a couple together because we had never worked together like that before. So I mean, there was a couple fights and a couple arguments, but I think it overall made us understand each other a lot more and how each other works, especially, you know, in a normal situation. You know, I'd be going to work and he'd be going to work and we'd be doing our own work, different work ethics, but that coming together, I think, improved our relationship and made it grow in a different way that I think wouldn't have happened had we not gone through the build process. It made us understand each other a little bit more. But as for like self-development, I guess, I mean, we're proud that we built this, right? I mean, it's a big accomplishment and it turned out way better than we ever expected it to. So we're really happy about that.
Yeah, you know, for me, for like our relationship, we have very different thinking styles.
Yeah.
Like the way I come to a conclusion or an answer is vastly different from how Kristine does. So I think when we were building out the van, that was the challenge is, you know, she did most of the planning, you know, kind of this is how we want to do things. We came up with that plan, and then she's trying to explain something to me, and I'm like, hold on, that doesn't make sense. And then, you know, a lot of fights came from she had to explain things to me a few times. But eventually I would understand it. Or, you know, I would try to explain something back to her and it wasn't clicking for her because I had done something differently when she wasn't around or something. So that's where, you know, as a couple, we were able to kind of learn each other's, you know, thinking styles and how our brains work in a way that I don't think we ever would have figured out had we not decided to basically build a house.
Thank you guys so much for watching our tour. We really hope you enjoyed it. If you want to follow along with us, you can find us on all social media, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Our Instagram handle is The Wandering Wings, and that's what we use on all of our different social media channels. So thanks for watching.